Hello, hello. Can you testing 1, 2, 3? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Yep. Hello, hello, hello.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you?
Yeah, hello.
Can
I can't hear you through
can't
there.
Hear me?
Nah. I don't need to though, do I?
No.
As long as Zing can hear me, I don't need to hear myself.
I can hear you as well.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm fine. As long as you can hear me, that's all that matters. I'll put the mic up for now.
Yeah.
And then I'll come on just as the teams shake hands at the start of the game. I just hope. Give me some blue sky. Well, why is that over there? Why is that blue sky over there and not over here?
The shower is increasing. There will be no blue sky. There will be raining all the way until 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, good start. Okay.
So what I did, I just turned this down. This one, actually, the other one. This is number 1. This is number 1. Turn it down.
I sorted it out. Thank you.
That's all you need. When the next game, you can go put number 1 center.
Fucking unbelievable, mate.
Recording.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the State Football Centre for the third of 4 big cup finals today here in the Weston State Cup final day. Next up on the programme, it's Hyundai NTC versus Murdoch University Melville in the Women's State Cup final. Thanks as always for joining us today. We're on streamer.com.au as per normal, but also on the Football West Facebook page as well. My name's Tommy Dolm, and it's a pleasure to be here for what is the first competitive women's fixture to be played at this brand new venue here in WA football. Captains Georgia Cassidy and Charlie Wainwright will do the pre-game admin. Before the game, both teams gathered in their huddle pre-match, and they'll also pose for a photo in what have been pretty wet and wild conditions really since the end of the first game. We certainly haven't really caught much of a break up here in our commentary position, so we do apologise if there is a little bit of interference and maybe a little bit of water on the camera throughout the game. As mentioned before, this fixture's due to kick off at 3:45 p.m. local time. We've had 2 games which have been played already so far. In the 18s, it was Perth Soccer Club who prevailed 5-3 over Florida Athena. with 2 goals from Jonathan Ricupero in the second half, getting the Azzurri over the line into their 9th under-18s State Cup triumph. The Azzurri coming from behind 3 times in that game to lift the trophy. The second game not as close, Perth Glory winning that one by 5 goals to 0 with a couple of strikes from Roy Rahamim, the difference in that game. So, Murdoch University Melville with one final team talk. Hyundai NTC gathered in a final photo for some of the players today on show. It's the last game of Tanika Lala, Georgia Cassidy, Grace Johnston and Ruby Cuthbert before they go away on A-League women's duties. Most of them with the Perth Glory. In terms of your team of officials today out in the middle, it's an all-female team led by Jasmine Bremner in the centre, and they'll be assisted by Maria Avramita and Samir Omar. Your 4th official is Chloe Smith. So on a day when the State Football Centre is open for business, it's fitting that this facility geared towards bringing through the next generation of WA footballers is kicked off on a women's front by some of the most exciting local young players. Silverware does wonders for the growth of both Hyundai NTC and Murdoch University Melville as they look to take the next step throughout their careers. But who will emerge today? It's NTC versus Murdoch University Melville in the Hyundai Women's State Cup final. Jasmine Bremner will set the watch, and NTC wearing the predominantly yellow with the black shorts will get us off and underway. Kicking from the left to the right of your screen today, Murdoch University Melville are in their changed predominantly white jerseys. And early on, Georgia Cassidy puts into touch, and a chance for Mum FC to have possession. Katie Schubert, though, pumps that one into touch, and of course, as mentioned before, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the players out there to get used to with the skipping surface and the wind as well, which has caused a few problems throughout the day. Isabella Wainwright looking to try and make some early inroads for Mum FC. She'll pass inside for Sophie Mead, and Georgie Cassidy was screening, and Misha Anderson should be able to keep in play and does. Misha Anderson scored her first senior NPLW goal last week in the 5-0 win over Curtin University in round 22. Spent a little bit of time up front at the end of the game last week, but she's back in her normal position in the centre of defence. Jessica Johnson ran into trouble. Mayor Archibald will try to come away with the ball. She'll send up the line for the chasing Violet Longmore, who'll drive towards the penalty box. She'll pull across goal. It evaded Tanika Lala, but waiting to put into the net was Louise Tana. And NTC make the perfect start in the Women's State Cup final. Longmore's industry down the left. Tana's finish. Cavill got a glove to it and couldn't keep it out. And it's NTC 1, Mum FC 0. So Louise Tana, the first female scorer at the State Football Centre since it opened up for business, and NTC couldn't really have asked for a better start. An early goal just to settle the nerves a little bit, perhaps. And maybe that'll just change the dynamic for Murdoch University Melville, who now have at least 88 minutes to try and chase this one back in their favour. Murdoch University Melville missed the top 4 this season. Finished in 6th place at the end of the home and away campaign. They actually won 4 games in a row to sit second at one point after round 8, but 2 wins in the last 14 meant that they miss out on the top 4 for a second season. And they have tailed off in the back end of the campaign has largely come since they did prevail over Fremantle City in the semi-final of this competition. So Perhaps it's a situation where they have been gearing themselves towards this match for quite some time. NTC, meanwhile, had to wait until the second last game of the season to cement their top 4 spot with victory against Curtin. But they were really in control for a long while before that. It was only really mathematically complete in the final 2 games of the regular season, both of which were convincing wins over Curtin University. Actually come into game in pretty good form as well. 4 wins in their past 6 matches. And 2 defeats in the last 9. A strong way to end 2023, and they'll be hoping that, having come so close to lifting some silverware in 2022 in the top 4 cup final, that they're able to go one better this year and lift a trophy, which would be their first cup of any sort in the NPL women's era. Here's Lily Bailey, who's a key part of this team. She missed a portion of the season due to a serious knee injury. As good a passing goalkeeper as you'll see is Lily Bailey. Lovely touch from Tanika Lala in the centre of the park. Tana was snapping at the heels of Lahane, who came away with it. She ran into trouble. Tana got it back. Now Tanika Lala trying to skip past Charlie Wainwright down the right-hand side. She'll pull across goal. Arriving was Longmore. It was cleared away by Bonnie McQueen. Tana lost her footing. Going to be a little bit of that today on the slippery surface. Mum FC will try and make them pay in the opposite direction through Isabella Wainwright. Mum FC's number 7. Pass was picked off by Longmore. Now Lucy Hope. Player from the southwest region is Lucy Hope. Certainly continues to improve each and every year. Archibald had a handful of Clara Harao's shirt in the centre circle, and pretty easy spot there for Jasmine Bremner. Schubert will go long with the free kick. Far too long, in fact, for any of her teammates. Cassidy. Tana. Lahane with a good challenge. Charlie Wainwright for Clara Harao. Jess Johnson prods it up the line for Isabella Wainwright, who did well to get past the challenge of Anderson, but the ball just escaped her and crossed the line. That goal scored by Louise Tana early doors was her second of the cup run for NTC. She netted in the 6-0 win over UWA Netherlands in the first round. A 4-2 win over MPL Subiaco followed after that. And then the semi-final, which was played in similar conditions to what we're playing in today, NTC prevailed 3-2 over Perth Soccer Club thanks to a late Georgia Cassidy spot kick with 5 minutes remaining. Tana. Good hustle. Lala helps it across for Archibald. Pass was just behind Lala, who continued her run. McQueen tries to link up with Meaden, and Grace Johnston is tracking back. NTC will always try and play out from the back, which in these conditions could pose a couple of problems for them. It's a slightly different surface to what many of the players would be normally used to playing on. Hybrid surface here, which is used for all conditions, and it's a good thing we've got it today. I said in the last game, it feels like we've had 4 seasons in the space of about 2 hours, and unfortunately winter is set in again at the start of spring. Mum FC get a free kick, which will be taken by Katie Schubert, lifted long into the penalty area. Arriving was McQueen. Clearance nearly fell for Sophie Meaden. Charlie Wainwright then went from distance and it skipped wide of the post. Murdoch University Melville's run to this final saw them beat Subiaco's amateur team 4-0 before a 3-0 win against women's league champions Hammersley Rovers, and then in the semi-final, as mentioned before, they edged Fremantle City by a 1-0. Scorer of that goal, Sam Mathers, is on the bench today as Violet Longmore tries her luck from range. It hit Lucy Hope and went away to safety, and clearance is completed by Brooke Burdett. Prodded back by Cassidy for Violet Longmore. Cassidy was pulled back slightly by Harao. So Cassidy's the taker of the free kick. She goes long from distance. It's straight into the grateful arms of Stacey Cavill. Murdoch University Melville stopper. Previously part of the Perth Glory's system. 6 international caps with the Philippines national team as well. Nellie Johnson penalised for a foul. MFC get another chance to launch something long. They nearly profited a little early on. Schubert's keen to get it moving. Brought down by Wainwright in the nick of time. NCC were able to clear away. Johnston went to ground under the challenge of Wainwright, I think it was. Referee let play continue, and Johnston a little slow to get back to her feet. She's as tough as they come, though, in the NPL women's competition, is Grace Johnston. Sophie Meaden. Bonnie McQueen. For Charlie Wainwright. McQueen then rushed her. Attempted a cross/shot, and no danger is done. So, around about a dozen minutes played here at the State Football Centre. Game 3 of 4 today on State Cup final day. And if you are late to joining us, it's Louise Tarner's early goal which separates the sides. Emily Garnett was the creator down the left-hand side. Charlie Wainwright's low, skidding effort the closest. MFC have come to an early response. As Tarner helps on in the wrong direction. NTC's number 11 then goes back to get the ball, and she'll go through Bailey to get to Johnson. Pass into midfield was turned over. Cassidy was there to screen and step in. Longmore across for Tarner. Options ahead of her, didn't like any of them, so went back to Longmore. Johnston, little turn around the corner. Tanika Lala driving down the right-hand side. Lahane was tracking her back and making the challenge. Lala. NTC go all the way back to Hannah Collins. Johnston. Lala. Fancying her chances against Lahane again. Last touch was off the Mum FC number 2. Johnston with a little bit of poise. Collins across for Cassidy. Garnett is to her left. A little bit of space and time to weigh up her options. Burdette came across to meet her. Garnett then pulled back for Mayor Archibald. Got past one challenge. Curling shot. And Stacey Cavill knew that one was off target and was happy to let that one go wide, but it was a move which got the NTC bench off their feet. Mayor Archibald had to wait until the final couple of rounds of the season to get her first senior NPL women's goal. She had netted in the cup earlier in the season. Grace Johnston. Opposite number 8, Clara Harrao. Took it off her toes and then won her team a throw. Sophie Meaden for Rosie Lahane. Cassidy once again perfectly positioned to deal with any danger. Longmore's ball forward now, then is Lala onside. She's in a foot race with Lucy Hope. It's Hope who makes the challenge. Lala went to ground and the referee said play on. Looks like challenge from behind from Hope, and she didn't win the ball, so perhaps a little fortunate on that occasion. Mum FC will try and ride a little bit of that luck in their favour as Lahane makes inroads down the left. She plays the cross off Tana, and Mum FC get the corner. Wainwright's corner. Dangerous delivery. Bailey fumbled. Ball could have dropped anywhere. It's still here with McQueen. She played off Tana. Mum FC will get a chance to stay on the front foot. Turned around the corner by Meaden. Wainwright went to ground and referee points to the penalty spot. And having survived a scare at the other end of the pitch a few minutes previously, Mum FC are given a real opportunity here to tie the game up. So it's going to be Clara Harrao who steps up to the mark. Lily Bailey faces her up. It's Clara Harrao. It's saved by Bailey. The goalkeeper draws applause from the crowd. And she guessed right and read where it was going to go and made an important block. NCC will come in the opposite direction. Tana forward for Lala. Hope will try and shield back for Cavill, who bravely comes out and dives on the ball. Sophie Meaden was just able to keep it in play. Was she? No, not quite. Might be trailing 1-0 Mum FC, but they can take heart from the fact that they have scored in every fixture against NTC in the NPL WA Women's era prior to today's game. In fact, Mum FC have a pretty good record overall, with the caveat being that Mum FC's first 2 seasons were very strong. Obviously, 2-time league winners in 2020 and 2021. Mum FC 6 wins, 4 draws and just the 1 NTC win, which was last season in round 10 at the Best Team Stadium, when goals from Abby Woolley and Cassidy got them over the line. In terms of this season's head-to-head matchups, it's 1 win for Mum FC and 2 draws. A 5-1 win for Mum FC earlier in the campaign when Sam Mathers scored a hat-trick, and then 2 draws in the 2 most recent meetings. 3-3 and 1-1. As Johnston comes forward, tries to play into the feed of Tana. Lala then with a curling strike. Cavill was wrong-footed and stuck out of left mitt. And it was a good save from the goalkeeper in the end to readjust at the last minute. Collins hemmed back by Harau. Collins was good enough to play it off Clara Harau and win the NTC a throw. Longmore's first time cross. Garnett was arriving and she made contact. Not the cleanest of contact though, and it's an easy pick up for Cavill. Now Johnson. Jess Johnson trying to link up with Isabella Wainwright. Once again the move breaks down and Anderson will spin the ball wide for Violet Longmore. Emily Garnett. Cassidy continued her run. Brooke Burdett puts into touch. NCC throw. Midway through this first 45. Game 3 of 4 at the State Football Centre this afternoon. The Women's State Cup final. NTC 1, Mum FC 0. Louise Tana's goal, the early difference so far. Tommy Dolman with you today, streamer.com.au. We're also on the Football West Facebook page as well. Later tonight, Inglewood United and Floreat Athena in the Men's State Cup final. Wins already today for Perth Soccer Club in the 18s over Floreat Athena, and also for Perth Glory over Armidale in the 20s. As Lala's cross takes a deflection. Goodwin in the air from Archibald. Louise Tana looks left, and it's Emily Garnett who drills in. And NTC second in this first half. And the youngsters are well and truly on their way now in what is a farewell game for a lot of these girls out on the pitch today. It's Hyundai NCC 2, Mum FC 0. So Emily Garnett's a player who's largely played in the 21s this season. She got a start on the final day of the league campaign and got a double against Curtin University, and as a result she was entrusted with a starting role today, and her goal means that NCC are in a real strong scenario now. Lala's layoff, picked off by Charlie Wainwright. Clara Harrao, tough one for Isabella Wainwright to bring under. A little bit scrappy in the middle of the park, but Mum FC emerged with it. Sliding in was Cassidy. Anderson came out to deal with it. Garnett for Mayor Archibald. Lala. Johnston was the runner. Schubert was the screener. And then Archibald's appetite to win it back. Sorry, a charge down the initial clearance, but David Biancuso's team emerged with it. Rosie Lahane. Jessica Johnson was hoping to pick the run of Isabella Wainwright, but pass was a little off the mark. Last time NCC were in a State Cup final was back in 2017. They lost 5-0 to the then Northern Redbacks. In fact, last time NCC collected a piece of silverware was all the way back in 2008 when they won the Night Series. Been a little bit of a wait in between drinks despite that top 4 cup final last year I referred to, and making the inaugural Night Series MPLW final in 2020. Violet Longmore up the line. Grace Johnston trying to work a yard for the cross. Hope got a foot in, and then someone lost a shin pad. That was Johnston. Johnston again, little feign, then a left-footed cross. Lahane got most of a foot on that. NCC looking to further build on that lead, which has been provided to them by goals from Tana and from Garnett. Jessica Johnson plays at a real breakout season with Mum FC. Sophie Meaden tried to poke through. It's Johnson who continued her run, and she'll slide past Bailey. And one of Mum FC's rising stars gives Murdoch University Melville a footing back in this game and halves the deficit to 1. It's NCC 2, Mum FC 1. So Johnson was a scorer in the first 2 cup rounds, and she's netted again. And it builds on a terrific season that she's had at the first time at this level for her. Just 13 years old is the Mum FC number 11. 11 goals in the league, and now a goal in the Women's State Cup final, which gives her team a chance. Nellie Johnson for Emily Garnett. Turned back by Johnston for Cassidy. Now Collins and Longmore. Archibald. Good win in the air. Move breaks down and Wainwright will look right for Brooke Burdett. Lala. Into the area she goes, striking and scoring. It's a goodbye gift from the Goldfields girl before she joins Perth Glory. And NTC regain their 2-goal cushion in barely no time after Mum FC reduced the deficit. It's NTC 3, Mum FC 1. So in Tanika we trust, double figures in the league for the past 2 seasons, and she makes her mark on Cup final day. And Mum FC were only briefly within a goal, and now the onus is on them to try and give themselves a fighting chance going into the interval. It's been a lively game so far. Both teams maybe be a little bit frustrating with some of the defending, but certainly from a neutral standpoint, it's been engaging. Lahane kept it in play for Bonnie McQueen. Longmore, little turn around the corner. Charlie Wainwright. Harrell tried to link up with Wainwright, who continued her run, but the pass was just a little bit too far in front of her. Poked forward by Lala. Touch was a little heavy from Hope, but it worked out okay. And then a risky pass from Wainwright, and Garnett had Archibald there for assistance. Garnett returns to Mayor Archibald. She'll want it on her right foot. Garnett, then a swing and a miss. And Johnston will leave it for Cassidy, but McQueen's able to clear up field. Wainwright, Johnson. Mum FC with a chance to counter again. It's Johnson carrying upfield again. She's been a real bright spark in this game so far for the 2-time league champions, but on this occasion she just loses her footing. Harrell was bundled to the ground by Johnston. So a lot of action in this first 45. Schubert's ball forward. Awkward one for Longmore to contend with, but she was happy to leave it. Johnston nudged it forward. Lala, and Hope do battle. Grey, gloomy day here at the State Football Centre. The lights have come on as well. A fantastic facility out here just off Welshpool Road at Queen's Park. Lala with a little hop, skip and a juggle. Trying to make the yard for a strike, and she goes from distance again, and this time Cavill is equal to the effort. The goalkeeper has been very busy in the first half. She's certainly done her bit to try and keep her team in the game. And I fancy that one would have been creeping just inside the post had Cavill not sprung across to palm it away. Cassidy, the taker of the corner. Lala was leaping. She got her head to it, but wide of the mark it went. Goal kick taken short. NTC orchestrating a high press. Johnston. Archibald for Collins. Anderson and Nellie Johnson are the last two back. Now it's Violet Longmore. Longmore. Johnson tried to help it on. Collins stepped in. Lala. Hannah Collins turned into trouble. Managed to keep it though. Grace Johnston goes long from distance, and it stung the palms of Cavill, but that was a comfortable enough save for the former Curtin goalkeeper. Anderson. Archibald's touch a tad heavy. Game is very much in NTC's control at the moment, as the wind and rain begin to pick up a little bit. Burdett up in the air. Lahane helps it on. NTC, I suspect, will be seeing an opportunity to try and kill this one off in the first half, whereas MoFC perhaps will just want to see through this final 6 minutes or so to give themselves a chance to reset. Wainwright and Johnston go to ground, and free kick goes the way of the NTC midfielder. Johnston's take. Cavill came, 2 fists to it, and claimed it the second time of asking. Looked as though she made her mind up pretty early there, did Stacey Cavill, that she wanted to come and defuse the danger. Garnett took on the strike early. Once again, comfortable for Cavill. She'll try and set the ball in motion for Lehane. McQueen, the layoff from Meaden. Across was Hannah Collins. As we tick inside the final 5 minutes of this first half. Mayor Archibald, all the way back for Nellie Johnson, North Beach Junior, who scored her first senior goals in that exhilarating 5-4 win for Red Star against NTC at E&D Leaders Stadium. Sarah Carroll's late free kick that night got them over the line, the champions. Lala's challenge on Hope looked a little late. Body's hitting the floor all over the joints. Here's Harao. Lahane's passed up the line a little too far in front of McQueen. Longmore, Johnston, Louise Tana gets to the byline, pulls it back across goal. Cavill with a glove, and then Lala couldn't squeeze it over the line. It's still here for NTC. It's pulled back for Garnett, who hit off the heel. And she tried to side foot that one towards the target, and MFC get away with another one at the back again. Nellie Johnson, Grace Johnston, Tanika Lala. Ball was threaded through for Garnett, who was just on her heels slightly. Didn't quite read that the pass was going to come her way. So a little bit of food for thought for Mom FC as they try to find a way to get back into this game. Perhaps we'll see their top scorer Sam Mathers come off the bench in the second period. Clara Harrell. Little reverse pass, almost picked the run of Wainwright. That was Charlie. Forward by Violet Longmore. Header partially away by Lucy Hope. Collins back for Longmore, and NTC can recycle possession once more. Instruction from NTC dugout is to keep the ball. Obviously, inside the final minute of the first half, it's not a time for risk. Bailey. Johnson, Cassidy. Johnson again, NCC tried to play out of a tight corner. Harrell was trying to sneak in. One more minute goes up on the fourth officials board. As the rain picks up. Cassidy goes forward. Tana was giving chase. She hesitated on the run. Lahane goes up the line. Johnston, cross comes in. Cavill was backpedaling for a moment, but then she caught. And that'll be the last action of the first half. So a lively opening 45 minutes here at a rain-soaked State Football Centre. NCC was set on their way as early as the second minute when Louise Tana arrived at the back post to put in Emily Garnett's cross from the left. Clara Harrell then had a penalty saved by Lily Bailey, and NTC made them pay soon after when Garnett slammed into the back of the net. Jessica Johnson then pulled one back with a nice solo effort and a flowing team move down the right, but Tanika Lala restored the 2-goal cushion pretty promptly, and as a result we've got a half-time score of Hyundai NCC 3, Murdoch University Melville 1. Welcome back to the second half of this Women's State Cup final here at the State Football Centre. Half-time score is NTC 3, Murdoch University Melville 1. Goals from Lala, from Garnett, and also from Louise Tarner in the first half. Jessica Johnson with Mum FC's response. And both teams have made an alteration at the half-time break. Mum FC have introduced leading scorer Samantha Mathers. And she's come on in place of Bonnie McQueen at the 45-minute mark. And NTC have also introduced Neve Healy, who comes on in place of Nellie Johnson. So Healy will step into midfield, and I think Hannah Collins has gone back into the centre of defence next to Misha Anderson. Referee weighed up decision, and foul was committed on Isabella Wainwright, and it's a chance for Mum FC to maybe strike gold early in this second half. Everybody wearing a yellow and black shirt is behind the ball. It's Wainwright's set piece. Bailey Kane got nowhere near it, and NTC are able to clear upfield through Garnett. She's got plenty of pace, and then committed a handball in her attempts to charge down. Schubert sends it long. Cassidy tried to bustle her way through. A couple of challenges. Garnett's got a little bit of time to use Collins, and now Bailey for Misha Anderson, Joondalup City Junior. Bailey across for Anderson, into the feet of Tanika Lala, scorer of the game's third goal for NTC. Garnett helped it on for Mayor Archibald. Burdett with some good defending, getting herself in between her opponents and the ball, and there was a little tug of the jersey from Archibald as she tried to win it back. Johnson tried to turn around the corner for Sophie Mead, and Johnston will guide back to Bailey. Sam Mathers is on the scene. Mentioned in the first half that she scored a hat-trick in the round 3 catch-up game when these two sides met at Indy Leaders Stadium. Burdett took the throw and it just slipped out of her fingers, so should be a free kick. Foul throw was the indication instead, as Cassidy goes across for Violet Longmore, who of course missed the first half of the season with a wrist injury that she picked up in the night series final back in March. Certainly looks a player to keep an eye on for the future. Does Longmore, very good player defensively, and she's got a decent long throw on her as well, as we saw earlier in the game. Oh, Collins took a chance. Johnson was nearly able to steal in. Bailey then drills upfield. Burdett, heavy touch back, will interest Lala, and she'll pick it up. She's only really got Tana ahead of her in support, so has to wait. Neve Healy was alongside her eventually. And Izzy Wainwright was back, and the last touch was off the NCC player. Upfield from Schubert. Skipped past Johnston. Harrow went forward. Pass took a nick on its way through. Anderson will guide it back to her goalkeeper. Tanika Lala. Still going is Lala, persisting. Hope wasn't sure who got the last touch, so opted to take the safety first approach. Tana was in an offside position. Archibald. Pass just a little bit behind Lala. Tana was there to help. Longmore kept it alive. Time to assess her options. She uses the feet of Tana. Lahane then played it off the score of the opening goal. Light showers still drizzling down here in Queen's Park. Feels as if it's going to be a pretty steady flow throughout the day. Remember, of course, Inglewood United versus Florida Athena in the Men's State Cup final kicking off at 6:30 p.m. Earlier today we had wins for Perth Soccer Club in the 18s and Perth Glory in the 20s. Tana. Lala. Cross comes in. Archibald was arriving. She got a flick on it. And then Garnett wasn't quite able to keep it alive before it crossed the line. Well, for such a diminutive player, Maya Archibald has certainly won her fair share of headed challenges today. Joined the NTC at the beginning of this season, having finished last year at Fremantle City. Longmore, Garnett, sorry, into the area she goes, and straight into the gloves of Cavill. Misha Anderson for Violet Longmore. Lifted upfield for a running Tana. Lahane is in position A to deal with it. Mum FC try to play through the NTC press. They don't succeed. Cross is pulled back for Johnston on the edge of the area. Now Sophie Meaden. Will turn around the corner for Isabella Wainwright. Charlie Wainwright was then fouled by Georgia Cassidy as the two skippers come together. Rain driving down again. Wainwright's free kick into the mix. The Schubert got a header on it. And was there a touch off an NTC defender? There was. So it'll be a corner ball from Murdoch University Melville. Mum FC trying to keep up the fight. It's Johnson's delivery. Bailey was under it. So too was the top of the goal net. And as mentioned at the start of the game, obviously we are in a bit of a adverse situation here with regards to the weather. The rain and the wind is coming right into our faces here in the commentary position and the filming spot, so apologies if there is a little bit of scrambling on the audio, or perhaps there is a little bit of moisture on the camera lens. We'll obviously try and keep up with making it okay as much as we possibly can. Charlie Wainwright, meanwhile, goes into the referee's notebook. NTC free kick to be taken by Misha Anderson. Ball is lifted forward. Cavill came, got a glove on it. Where's this going to drop? It's going to drop to Garnett! Who spins and slams in her second of the game. It's Emily Garnett on the score sheet once more. And NTC are well in control now just before the hour mark. It's NTC 4, Mum FC 1. So, Mum FC get us restarted again. And it's a long old road back now for David Biancuso's team. NTC really had the bit between their teeth coming into today, obviously, with so many of those players moving on to pastures new. Georgia Cassidy, Grace Johnston, Tanika Lala, of course, all joining Perth Glory at the conclusion of this game. Saw Glory's A-League women's coach, Alex Apakis, in the crowd a little earlier today. Good persistence from Wainwright. Sophie Meaden. Ball was stuck in between her feet. Mathers then got the shot away from outside the box, and it's a comfortable save for Bailey. In terms of this production line that NTC have got, mentioned before that Ruby Cuthbert has gone to Brisbane Roar. And you may have also noticed that Iskia Brookings not in the squad either today. She's also moved on to take up an opportunity, which I don't think has been formally announced just yet. Really has been a terrific generation of NTC Academy players that coaching staff of Ben Anderton, Fernando Barrero and Tom Glavovich have brought through. A lot of the 21s, of course, have stepped up this year. They were coached by Sam Geddes as well, so really is a system that is churning out good quality players, and it'll be interesting to see how those players progress, and of course the next generation, who I'm sure will be having to replace the likes of Lala, Johnston and Cassidy next season. Garnett's one of them. She's got 2 goals today. Looks a ready-made replacement for Tanika Lala. Of course, they've also got Claudia Houlis in reserve. They want to use her today as well. Double figures for her this season. Clara Harao, space opens up for a shot, and Bailey's happy to watch that one go wide. Forward by Misha Anderson. Hope for Johnson, who's definitely looked the most likely of the Murdoch University Melville players today. She's looked to get on the offensive at every opportunity possible, and on this occasion she concedes a free kick, so that'll give NTC a chance to make another change. And it's going to see Mia Britton come on for the final 27 or so minutes in place of Louise Tana. I suspect that'll be a like-for-like replacement, with Britton adding some fresh legs over on that right-hand side. Cassidy. Ball sent forward for Tanika Lala. Mathers was across, and behind it went. As mentioned before, this is going to be just NTC's second win in all competitions against Murdoch University Melville in the MPLWA women's era. Johnston's corner. Anderson was attacking. Schubert was glancing it on. Lala's leading the race. Collins for Johnston. Pass was drilled into the feet of Garnett. Little lift forward. Tanika Lala's onside here. It's Lala to the edge of the area. The strike at goal sails over Cabell's bar. Archibald applying the pressure on Schubert. Pull across for Johnston. Healy just got it stuck under her feet. Wainwright with the clearance. Referee just stopped play while Mayor Archibald will be checked on by the referee just off his screen. Physio will now be waved onto the pitch. Both sets of players will come to the sideline in the meantime to take on some fluids and maybe receive some messaging from their respective dugouts. Worth just recapping what we've seen today while we do have a break in play. In the 18s today, it was Perth Soccer Club 5, Floreat Athena 3. Perth coming from behind on 3 occasions before a couple of goals got them over the line by a 2-goal margin. Then in the 20s, we saw Perth Glory stroll to a 5-0 win over Armidale. A couple of goals there for Roy Rahamim. Another also for Sebastian Despotovsky, as well as Sam Barry and an own goal. And then in this game, midway through the second half, it's NTC 4, Mum FC 1. Couple of goals for Emily Garnett, to go with efforts from Louise Tarner and Tanika Lala. And then finally at 6:30 PM, it's Inglewood United versus Floreat Athena in the Men's State Cup Final. All of which are on the Football West Facebook page and on streamer.com.au. Tommy Nolan with you for all 4 games today, and as mentioned before, we appreciate your patience with the weather a little inclement as play resumes once again with Anderson poking up the line. Emily Garnett has her skates on. She gets to the edge of the box with a low drive, which was on target, and Cabell got down low to palm away. Georgia Cassidy's corner into a good area. She got to the loose ball first. Managed to get it back to Johnston. Healy back for Johnston again. Longmore for Mia Britton. Stepping out was Rosie Lehane. Chance for Mum FC to come forward here. Meaden then just got it caught under her feet, and Cassidy wasn't going to miss an opportunity to step in. Her pass missed the mark though. Johnson picked it off. Charlie Wainwright desperately looking for a bit of support. That's a lovely pass for Danielle Brown. A little bit of time to weigh up her options. The cross is lifted in. Meaden was leaping, and it was a tough one for her to try and turn onto the target. Violet Longmore. Archibald. Ball skipped under her foot. Brown cleared, only as far as Neve Healy. Garnett. Archibald. Johnston. Past Miss Lala. Britton is fast, but not that fast. Cassidy tried to play into the path of Healy. Harau emerged from the 50-50. Ball is sent forward. And Schubert should be able to just watch that one back to Cavill. Clara Harau, Sophie Meaden, Jess Johnson. Fancied her chances from long range and wasn't troubling Bailey's goal. Mum FC are lining up another alteration. Come to that in a little bit more detail shortly. Mathers. Johnson. Trying to tiptoe past a couple of challenges. Did well to get the cross in. Meaden met it at the near post. Ball was cleared as far as Clara Harau, who with a bending effort curls onto the roof of the net. It was a good effort from Mum FC's number 8. She has got a long-range goal in her repertoire. And she wasn't too far off the mark on that occasion as latest Mum FC change will see Isabella Wainwright make way. And Nicolina Iarino will enter the fray. Got a couple of goals to her name this season as Iarino. And she'll go to left back, which means Rosie Lehane has seemingly been pushed a little further afield. Harau. Sophie Meaden. Curling strike. They've had plenty of efforts from distance out of Mum FC, but not enough of them have quite been able to challenge Bailey on a regular enough basis. Britton. Tanika Lala races onto the end of the pass. She'll pull back for Emily Garnett! A hat-trick hero on Cup final day! And if Garnett is to be the replacement for Tanika Lala this next season, then she's ready-made for it. On the basis of what we've seen today, it's 3 for Garnett, it's 5 for NTC, with quarter of an hour remaining. So 5-1. And really, we're just in the stage of the game now where we're just waiting for this one to play out. But certainly, if you are a NCC follower, you will be happy to have seen some of the next generation stepping up today, the likes of Archibald, the likes of Garnett. Louise Tana in the first half as well with a goal. The future is most certainly bright for Ben Anderton's team. Looks as though they're about to turn to the bench again, and Claudia Houlis will get a chance to see some action in the cup final. She'll take Maya Archibald's place. So Houlis was a player who started the season in fine fettle. She had hit double figures by a pretty decent stage of the season, but missed several games towards the end of the campaign. Bailey's clearance a little sloppy. Johnson was nearly able to step in. Anderson was there to mop up. Bailey. Lovely distribution once again from the goalkeeper to find the feet of Britton. Neve Healy. Johnson had Brown in support. Ball sent forward for Sophie Meaden. Meaden with the blue boots. Mathers lost the handle. Lala will come the other way. Managed to shrug off the attentions of Hope and look wide for Garnett, who certainly made her mark on today's contest. Schubert for Meaden. 5 goals scored by a team in all 3 of the State Cup finals today. 5-3, a 5-0 and now a 5-1. Wonder if we'll see that again in the final fixture, which will be played after this one, 6:30 p.m. local time, so around about 45 minutes to an hour between the conclusion of this one and start of Inglewood and Floreat. Garnett's ball forward will run through to Cavill, who sends long. Cassidy picked it off. Little pass into the channel for Mia Brisson, who's onside and crossing with Lala in the middle, and Hope was clearing. Johnston for Garnett. For Georgia Cassidy. Mia Britton scampers around Iarino. The cross comes in. Schubert. Clearance nearly went into her own net. And following in was Claudia Houlis, who's the latest to get in on the act. NTC have half a dozen. And this is suddenly turning into a very memorable day for Ben Anderton's team. It's NTC 6, Murdoch University Melville 1 with 10 minutes remaining. So 6-1. NTC having plenty of fun out there now. NTC were pretty competitive in that first half, but Mum FC were pretty competitive in that first half, but the game's just gotten away from them in this second 45, and as a result they're going to be well beaten. Rain starts hammering down sideways again.
Okay, that's it. Go to the season, ladies, come on.
Danielle Brown for Clara Harau. Tried all day long, has Harau in the centre of the park. Mathers, little poke wide, picked off by Brisson. Hope looks wide, sees Rosie Lahane. Mathers just hasn't quite been able to get into the game in this second period. All ball skipped past Johnston, and Jessica Johnson will get into the area and she'll flash one across goal and past Lily Bailey's uprights. She's certainly a reason for the Murdoch University Melville faithful to be excited about over the next few years. Worth noting as well that aside from a couple of experienced heads in the form of Cavill and Katie Schubert, that this is a very young Murdoch University Melville side. Some real up-and-comers. I mentioned Johnson before, but also Mathers, 14 goals this season for her, equals third top scorer in the league. Charlie Wainwright as well, captain at just 21. Clara Harau too, another rising star as Johnston goes long, and Cavill will catch. And that's just to name a few, along with Hope, Lahane, Iarino on the pitch as well. Sophie Meaden, who left the NTC program last year as well. You'd like to think that Mum FC would be better for the season of football that they've just had, and that they can take some of the positive results they had throughout the year, like this run to the cup final and like the 2-2 draw with Red Star, and build on it as Lala looks to try and imprint a little bit more pain on the Mum FC rear guard. Iarino will keep it alive. She's got Lahane up the line. Physio has been waved on, and it doesn't look good for Tanika Lala, unfortunately, who's down under the challenge. Of course, the women's football locally resumes again next week with the Top 4 Cup semi-finals. Red Star are playing Perth at Red Star Arena on Sunday afternoon. NTC will be back in action next Saturday against Fremantle City at END Leaders Stadium. NTC Freo is an elimination final, whereas Perth's game with Red Star is a double chance. And this is a real shame to see Tanika Lala being helped off the pitch by both the NTC physio and Violet Longmore, player who's had such a fantastic past couple of years since coming across from Kalgoorlie and the Goldfields, and that was rewarded by a contract with Perth Glory for next season, and hopefully that's nothing too serious and it's a knock rather than anything else more threatening than that. But certainly a sad side, and we hope that Tanika Lala is going to be okay. She's helped off the pitch, and coming on in her place is Ella Marwick. Violet Longmore has also departed with Anna Powell coming on, so a couple of late changes being introduced for the final 5 minutes.
Girls, come on. Work it.
Hollis bursting down that right hand side. Touch was a little heavy. Brought down by Garnett. Clara Harrell. Katie Schubert goes long upfield. Substitute Marwick there with the header. Getting a taste of first team football. Garnett defended well from Mathers. Healy tried to switch to a little bit of space, but she hit Ireno. Meaden, little nudge through. Rosie Lahane went to ground. It looked as though she was fouled, and referee saw it that way, and Anderson will take a yellow card for that one. So a free kick in a good position for Mum FC. And Johnson has placed the ball. 5 in the NTC wall. Jessica Johnson steps up. And it was an effort which called Lily Bailey into action. She palms over her own crossbar. Johnson's ball in. Bailey with the fumble. Danger not dealt with just yet. Harao's header. Now the clearance is made, I think, by Hannah Collins back there. Anna Powell with good hustle. Ball forward by Garnett. Claudia Hollis. Hope was leading the race back defensively. She cleared into Powell, and behind it went for a goal kick. As the fourth official signals 6 minutes of added time.
Go, shape, ladies, come on.
Wainwright went to ground under the challenge of Cassidy. Another player in the middle of the park who's had a phenomenal season for NTC, Georgia Cassidy. In fact, if it weren't for her suspension earlier in the season, my opinion is that she'd be right up there in gold medal contention. Schubert was challenged from behind by Powell, who can't be missed in the bright pink boots. Long from Schubert, helped on by Johnson. Sophie Meaden. Layoff was just behind Harao. Healy guided it back to Anderson, and then it's thumped away by Bailey. Anderson was fouled by Ireno. A couple of very late substitutions from FC. Jess Johnson's going to come off, so too Sophie Meaden. Eva Beredovac will come on, so too Luana Asenjo Cabello. Very much academic are these changes. Cassidy will send it forward. Deep delivery. Cavill was under it. Fumbled at the first time of asking. Senjo Cabello then booted it away. Long ball from Cavill. Marwick's headed back. Ball bounced over the head of Powell. Marwick left it for Cassidy. Healy. Rosie Lahane nudged it upfield. Beredovac will give chase. Ball was guided back to Bailey. Collins' clearance. Came off Lehane last, and it'll go behind for a goal kick. So NTC add their name to Perth Soccer Club and Perth Glory as cup winners this afternoon. 3 of 4 games just about completed, with only Inglewood United and Florida Athena remaining in the in the men's State Cup final from 6:30 p.m. local time. Beretovac. Pass all the way back for Bailey. Pass back, looked a little short, maybe invited Powell in. It's a first piece of silverware in the NPL women's era for Hyundai NTC, and it was a fitting farewell for some of the stars of the future who are going on to pastures new at A-League level with Perth Glory Women's and beyond. And on the day, it was a pretty comprehensive win for Ben Anderton's team. Mum FC fought really hard, particularly in that first half, but the game just got away from them in that second period, as 2 of the youngest teams in local football here in WA came together in the third of our 4 cup finals at the State Football Centre. Louise Turner gave NCC the perfect start with a goal inside 2 minutes. That lead was doubled by Emily Garnett midway through the opening period. Jessica Johnson then gave Mum FC a little bit of hope as she pulled a goal back, but Tanika Lala promptly replied to make it 3-1 at the interval. After the restart, it was Emily Garnett who added a couple of extra goals to take her tally to 3 for the day, and she was the star of the show and looks a ready-made replacement for Tanika Lala next season. And the final goal of the day was scored by Claudia Houlis, who got in on the act as well and added to her impressive first season at NPLW senior level. So that'll do us for the Women's State Cup final of season 2023. As mentioned before, NTC will lift their first Women's State Cup, and they'll also lift their first piece of silverware in the NPL women's era. Thank you for joining us for the third of these 4 games at the State Football Centre. We'll cross down to the trophy presentations with Sean Fry. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back at 6:30 p.m. for the Men's State Cup final between Inglewood United and Florida Athena. On behalf of Zim behind the camera and myself, Tommy Dolman, we'll speak to you in a bit. Turn that down? Yeah.
And today, the winner is the Hyundai NTC number 37, Emily Garnett. We'll now move on to the medals for our match officials, starting with on-field referee Jasmine Bremner, first assistant Maria Avramita, second assistant Samia Omar, and fourth official Chloe Smith. Once again, we don't have a game without our referees, so please put your hands together for our officiating team. And now the medal for our runners-up, medal for University of Melbourne, starting with number 2, Rosie Lehane. Number 4, Lucy Hope. Number 7, Isabella Wainwright. Number 8, Clara Royale. Number 10, Charlie Wainwright. Number 11, Jessica Johnson. Number 12, Katie Schubert. Number 23, Sophie Needham. Number 24, Brooke Burdett. Number 35, Bonnie McQueen. Number 51, Stacey Campbell. Number 13, Samantha Mathis. Number 19, Nicolina Iorino. Number 20, Danielle Brown. Number 27, Luana Asenzo Caballero. And number 34, Ava Berisada. Not their day today in the final, but it's a third effort to make it this far. Please put your hands together for Murdoch University Melbourne. And now the medals for our winning side today, the Hyundai NCC, starting with number 1, Lily Bailey. Number 5, Lisa Anderson. Number 6, Georgia Cassidy. Number 8, Grace Johnson. Number 9, Tanika Lara. Number 10, Hannah Collins. Number 11, Louise Farah. Number 15, Lily Johnson. Number 17, Violet Longmore. Number 19, Lana Armstrong. Number 37, Emily Janet. Number 7, Mia Griffin. Number 12, Anna Powell. Number 14, Claudia Hood. Number 20, Megan Phillips. Number 24, Emma Muller. We also get the NCC coaching staff to come forward to collect their medals.
Where you going?
University coaching staff.
Can I come up there? Can you go and do that for me?
Yeah, you can come up.
Hey?
Come up.
All right, thanks.
I'd now like to ask captain and coach forward to collect the trophies. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2023 Olympic Cup winners, Those of you just joining us, welcome to the State Football Queensland First Championship Final so far. One of those teams record, and now winning State Cup Final won by Glendale NTC. We just have one to go. The men's final between Eaglewood United and the Florida Latina. That is scheduled to kick off at 6:30 p.m.